I literally look like a low-budget, crappy, Ronald McDonald wannabe clown that looks like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer because the way my nose is, and a combination of having a cold because the way my nose looks. Greetings, nerds! Welcome to the season finale of DRAC, otherwise known as Drawing Restaurants as Cities. By the way, my name is Jules Nerdy, so hi. This is going to be the season finale again. I am excited. We're going to go through the entire drawing of Kroc-A-Dial. I like to call it Kroc-A-Dial. Kroc-A-Dial is named after the businessman Ray Kroc that made McDonald's a really huge restaurant chain. Obviously, McDonald's is an insanely big restaurant chain. And I imagine McDonald's as a fictional city to be a national capital city, and McDonald's is like the capital of fast food chains. It's like up there to being like really successful. Maybe it's not always successful. Maybe the business would tumble a little bit or like stumble. I decided to split the drawing of Kroc-A-Dial into two sub-cities, Ketchup and Mus Turd. Ketchup is the right side of the drawing, while the left side is Mus Turd. We're gonna start with the Ketchup sub-city, and then we're gonna move to the Mus Turd sub-city. I'm gonna go through the fictional places I came up with that have numbers. Then I'm gonna share my thoughts on the drawing of Kroc-A-Dial, share my opinions, and I made a promise that I was gonna find a way to celebrate. I already know how I'm gonna celebrate the season finale, the ending of the first season of DRAC, Drawing Restaurants as Cities. I also made up a fictional country called United Restaurant Companies. I plan on reorganizing the map I drew months ago, and I said that I was going to pretend to be a clown, a nerdy black clown. I guess this is a partial cosplay to Ronald McDonald. I was originally gonna wear a clown nose, like the big clown nose, but the clown nose that I got is relatively small. It barely fits my wide nose, and it's really crappy. So I was like, man, I regret ordering this clown nose from Amazon. Instead, I'm just gonna use acrylic paint, and you get this. I wasn't gonna wear all that makeup. I wasn't gonna use white paint, just red paint, because I got on these fake glasses. Plus, I don't like wearing all that makeup or all that paint for my face. So I'm gonna stick with just a boring outfit. This is not the best looking wig I got. I could have went on Amazon and picked a much more better wig, so that way I impersonate Ronald McDonald, but partially. Again, this is a partial cosplay to Ronald McDonald. I mean, look at the left side of my chest here. We got the McDonald's logo, so I have proof I'm in a McDonald's spirit. Alright, nerds.
Whatever.
I drew McDonald's as a fictional city. I recently finished it off camera during the free time I had. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get to the drawing. Let's go through it. Wait, first, let's go ahead and get to the intro and then go through the Kroc-A-Dial drawing. Millions and millions of us crave for food. There are lots of places that have food being cooked and served to us. Those cooked foods affect us physically and mentally. But what if we turn those places into something different? The places serving food will transform into places containing buildings. We will bring in our creative side by drawing these places as settlements. These restaurants will be drawn into fictional cities. This is Drawing Restaurants as Cities. Okay, nerds, here we go with Ketchup Sub-city. It sounds like you're saying the word ketchup. And speaking of ketchup, number one, we got Ketchup Tower. I probably eat more ketchup than any other condiment in my life. Probably a little bit more than barbecue sauce, mayo, mustard. Next up, we got the tomato. Number three, Friday Tower. A pun on the word Friday, probably the most exciting day of the week, the dawn of the weekend, and the word fry. Next up, we got Life of Pi, a pun on the story, but also the movie Life of Pi. and the pies that McDonald's got. Next up we got Red E, a pun on the word ready. Red is one of the two primary colors of the McDonald's logo, and maybe like part of its background color. And hey, I'm matching the McDonald's color. I am in the McDonald's spirit. Next up we got National Museum of Restaurants. Next up we got Statue of Obesity. It's a parody, but basically a ripoff to Statue of Liberty. I imagine my version of the Statue of Liberty as a very chunky human being, maybe like holding a hamburger for one hand and for the other hand a torch. Well, a torch for the right hand and a hamburger for the left hand. Obviously McDonald's would really destroy or deteriorate your health and increase your weight, and then you eventually have a heart attack or a stroke. Next up we got National Museum of Healthcare. Next up we got URC Capitol Building. It's another ripoff to the Capitol Building here in America, the US Capitol Building. Next up, this is a skyscraper complex, Old McDonald Complex, consisting of 5 fictional skyscrapers I came up with. And Old McDonald, by the way, is a pun on the nursery rhyme Old MacDonald. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Next up we got Sandwich Building, a pun on the word sandwich. Here in America, we don't consider burgers as sandwiches, but we consider McChickens as chicken sandwiches. It's technically a chicken sandwich, but we also got separated chicken sandwiches that are crispier than the original McChicken, and we also got fish sandwiches. Next up, National Museum of Race and Ethnicity. Next up we got ice cream, a pun on the phrase ice cream. Next up we got Zebra Tower. I came up with the name Zebra Tower because the Hamburglar, one of the popular characters of McDonald's, would wear black and white, and zebras are black and white. Next up, house building. The Happy Meal boxes and the way they're designed is the shape of a house, because we got the roof here. It's like a triangular prism. Next up we got National Museum of Animal Welfare. Next up we got Kroc-A-Dial Children's Museum. It seems like the major cities around the world contain a children's museum. Next up we got McFoley, a pun on the wrestler Mick Foley, and MC. You know how several McDonald's products would start with the uppercase M and then lowercase c? Mick. Next up, Tears of Toy, a pun on the phrase tears of joy, that one emoji and the word toy. McDonald's got toys in their Happy Meal boxes. Next up, Rap God, a pun on the phrase Rap God and the McWraps. Next up, Hash Tray Building, a pun on ashtray and hash browns. Next up, Eggo, a pun on the word egg and the Kellogg's brand, Eggo. Next up, we got Stakeout Tower, a pun on the word steak and stakeout. We got Shakespeare Tower, a pun on the infamous writer William Shakespeare and shakes that McDonald's got, or milkshakes, that's the full word, but we shorten it to shakes. Next up we got Cook-E, a pun on the word cookie. Next up we got Cinnamon Building, a pun on the word cinnamon. Next up we got Apple, a pun on the word apple. Next up we got McFlurry Vengeance, a pun on the movie Furry Vengeance and the McFlurries McDonald's got. Next up we got Goat Meal, a pun on the word goat and oatmeal. Next up we got Muffinish, a pun on the word muffin and finish. Next up we got Crispy Tower. Sounds like you're saying the word crispy. McDonald's got the crispy chicken sandwiches. They would discontinue some products, and then those products would eventually make a comeback and then disappear again. Not all products that would get discontinued would come back. They would be gone, like permanently gone, like for eternity. Maybe they would come back, but only for a limited edition or a temporary period. Next up we got McRonald, a pun on the very popular, the very infamous McDonald's character, Ronald McDonald, the man I'm pretending to be, but in a low budget form. Next up we got Big Mac Park, named after a very popular dish from McDonald's, the Big Mac. Yeah, lots love the Big Mac. One time, Julian made his own version of the Big Mac, but he used the plant-based patties. Yeah, he completely fell in love as soon as he took a bite of it.
Yeah, damn.
God damn! Next up we got Grimace Reaper, a pun on the McDonald's character Grimace, and also the Grim Reaper, but also the word grimace. Next up we got Sir Fries, a pun on the word surprise and fries. Next up we got Birdie. I think it's a pun on the McDonald's character, another McDonald's character, Birdie. Yeah, I think. I'm really sorry if I can't really remember why I came up with these names of these fictional places for the fictional city of Kroc-A-Dial, because I know it's been only 13 episodes. This is the 13th but final episode of the first season of this series. I had to deal with other projects and other videos. Julian had to go through the same thing as me, so forgive me. Please forgive me, nerds. I wouldn't be able to remember things for the Kroc-A-Dial drawing. Next up we got Cookie Monster, a pun on the Sesame Street character Cookie Monster, and I think another McDonald's character, Captain Crook, I believe. Next up we got Lactose Tower, a pun on the word lactose, that has to do with milk. Next up we got Lab Star, a pun on the word lobster. Next up we got Naggot Building. Sounds like you're saying the word nugget, because in fact McDonald's would serve chicken McNuggets, and they still do to this day. Next up we got Minute Maid, pun on Minute Maid, the Coca-Cola company drink. McDonald's got Coca-Cola company drinks, not only the Coca-Cola drink itself, but also Fanta, Sprite, and even Minute Maid, what I just mentioned. Next up we got Fantasy, a pun on the word fantasy, and the Coca-Cola drink Fanta. Last but not least, we got the Catch-Up Bridge, a fictional suspension bridge that kind of reminds me of the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, California. And that's all of the places for the Catch-Up Sub-city. And I forgot to mention this, the majority of these places have to do with the McDonald's menu and how McDonald's is and like what they do in commercials and etc. You get what I'm trying to say, nerds? So that's why I would come up with these really goofy names for a fictional city and to produce an artwork. Now we can move on to the Mus Turd Sub-city, the left side of the drawing. Sounds like your mustard literally sounds like you're saying the word mustard. Alright, we got Mustard Tower. Next up we got Coffee, a pun on the word coffee. McDonald's got coffee. Next up we got McRibbit, a pun on how frogs sound, ribbit, and the McRib. Next up we got Onion Tower, a pun on the word onion. Next up we got the Pick-Ill, a pun on the word pickle. These next three places are part of the skyscraper complex, Iceberg complex, 1, 2, and 3. And Iceberg is a pun on the word iceberg and burger. Next up we got URC Courthouse. URC, by the way, stands for United Restaurant Companies. Next up we got Gateway Arches, a pun on the Gateway Arch located in St. Louis, Missouri, here in America. And we got instead of just one big ol' arch, we got two arches combined into the letter M, and you get the infamous McDonald's logo. So I always thought the Gateway Arch reminds me of part of the McDonald's logo. Next up, we got Pusha T Park, named after the rapper that's behind the McDonald's jingle. I think he was the one to write the McDonald's jingle. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it. Next up, we got the Presidential Palace. Next up, we got Yellow Tower, a pun on the word yellow. Next up, we got Pink Slima Bean, a pun on lima bean and slime. I just really think these names are just far too goofy. But hey, I love the stupidity and the goofiness behind these names for an artwork. Next up, we got Pancake, a pun on the East Asian country Japan and pancake. Next up, we got Tower of Advertisement. Next up, we got the Clownfish. I guess the connection for that name involves Ronald McDonald being a popular, iconic clown, but also McDonald's serving fish sandwiches. Next up, we got the Campaign Building. There's multiple campaigns or movements for McDonald's. By the way, it's a pun on the word campaign. Next up, we got the Celebrity Tower, a pun on the word tea and celebrity. Next up, we got McMuffinland, a pun on the European country Finland and McMuffin. Next up, we got the Urgent, a pun on the word urgent and ER. ER, by the way, stands for emergency room. Next up, we got McDonald Cathedral, and this fictional cathedral is named after the McDonald's brothers. I wanted to put some respect to the people behind the creation of the McDonald's restaurant. Next up, we got Wing of Honor, a pun on the wrestling company. It's a real wrestling company, by the way, Ring of Honor, and the wings McDonald's got. We got another skyscraper complex, Corridor Pounder, the East Tower and the West Tower. Corridor Pounder is a pun on Quarter Pounder. Next up, we got the Lettuce, a pun on the word lettuce. Next up, we got Mickey D's Nuts, a pun on the popular Vine, or like the popular meme, D's Nuts, and Mickey D's, which is a nickname of McDonald's. Next up, we got the Parfaith, a pun on the word faith and parfait. Next up, we got Machine Building, a pun on the word machine. Nerds would make memes about ice cream and the ice cream machine being broken, and I think those nerds are still making those memes. Do I find it annoying? Not really, but I don't know when that meme became a thing for McDonald's and for the internet in general. Next up, we got Sauces, a pun on the word sauces. Next up, we got Secret, a pun on the word see and the word secret. Next up, we got Slideshow Bob, a pun on the Simpsons character Sideshow Bob, the arch enemy of Bart Simpson, and the word slide. McDonald's, there's some McDonald's restaurants that include the Play Place, which is a playground that's built inside the restaurant chain. Next up, Fritter Bug, a pun on the word litter bug and the phrase apple fritter. Next up, we got Willard Scott Convention Center, named after the actor that is the first one to pretend to be Ronald McDonald, to play as Ronald McDonald for a TV commercial back in the 1960s, naming something fake but after a real person. Next up, University of Kroc-A-Dial. Next up, the Macbeth Highway, a pun on the story by William Shakespeare and also the character Macbeth. Next up, we got Coca-Cola Stadium, named after the Coca-Cola drink. You know, it's like one of the leading beverages in the world. Last but not least, Mus Turd Bridge, which is a fictional arch bridge. And that's all of the places we got for the Mus Turd Sub-city. Now, I'm gonna share my opinions on the drawing of Kroc-A-Dial. Let's get to that. Okay, first and foremost, I think the drawing of Kroc-A-Dial kind of looks amateurish. It's neat for the most part. There's a lot of things that are really neat about it. The Kroc-A-Dial Bay that I like to call. The two bridges I included, the Catch-Up Bridge and the Mus Turd Bridge. The skyscrapers are mostly neat, but the details for some skyscrapers just sloppy. I might have rushed on some portions of the Kroc-A-Dial drawing. Mus Turd Sub-city has a smaller skyline, obviously, compared to the Catch-Up Sub-city. The Catch-Up skyline is a lot more bigger. Maybe, I think the reason why I decided to create a much more ginormous skyline for the right side of the drawing because I eat more ketchup than mustard. I love how colorful everything looks for the drawing. I'm not a professional art critic. Maybe I need to get to reading lots of books so I could really express a lot more stronger than how I'm doing right now. Maybe build up the vocabulary. So I think I'll give the Kroc-A-Dial drawing maybe a 6.5 out of 10. It's not one of the best works I've produced for a YouTube channel and anything outside of YouTube, but it's decent. There's just not enough energy to the drawing. Okay, nerds, yes, I'm a type of person that keeps my promises. Well, I'm not a person, I'm a nerd. I said this a few times in the past already, that I was gonna find a way to celebrate the ending of the first season of Drac, or Drawing Restaurants as Cities. And I'm honestly sweating from all of this outfit I got on. I'm gonna make myself sweat even more by drinking a glass of hot sauce. I'm not sure if you nerds, there we go. You nerds should be able to see the name of the hot sauce, Louisiana hot sauce. There we go. You nerds should clearly see it, Louisiana hot sauce. I know this is a weird positioning for the bottle, the way I'm holding the bottle. And we got this glass here. This might be a mistake, but I don't care. This might take a little while.
10 seconds later.
Oh boy, look at this. Yeah, this is like close to half the amount of hot sauce that I'm about to drink. Cheers, we made it to the conclusion of the drawing of Kroc-A-Dial. It has been really fun, so I'm gonna make myself suffer by drinking a glass of hot sauce. I don't even got anything else to say, so just shut up and drink the hot sauce. Bottoms up. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's like I put a blowtorch into my mouth and went past my epiglottis, my windpipe, then down here to my esophagus. And I remember, man, the last time I had something spicy, the Packy One Chip challenge I did close to 2 years ago, probably one of the biggest mistakes of my life. It made me toss the cookies. The heat is deadly, really deadly. Wow, and the instantaneous hiccups. Oh gosh. This is more serious than the Fiery Bee-Moozle challenge that I did. And I know it's pretty absurd for me to do these food challenges in an art channel. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's something I would do for fun. This is no joke. I probably shouldn't have done that, but that was season 1 of Drac, Drawing Restaurants as Cities, and it has been really fun drawing Kroc-A-Dial. I feel like I could have done the drawing a lot more better, or a little bit more better, but I'm fine with how it looks right now. I know it's been the long 6 months of our lives, especially my life, and I can't wait for the next season, and then the next season after that, the next season after that. I already know what's going to be our next restaurant chain that we're going to draw as a fictional city, and it is going to be Subway. It has been quite the blast. Yeah, getting the most interesting restaurant out the way was really intriguing. We're going to stick with a little bit of a smaller restaurant chain, Subway. So that is going to be the end of this season of Drac, Drawing Restaurants as Cities. Stay tuned for more content, nerds, and I hope this season finale was quite enjoyable to watch.